Here's something nobody in the coding world will tell you. Gamers learn to code faster than almost everyone else. I spent years feeling guilty about how much I gamed. I thought it had wasted my time, damaged my brain, made me lazy. When I eventually started coding seriously, I assumed I'd be starting from zero. I wasn't. The skills I'd spent thousands of hours building in video games turned out to be almost exactly the skills that coding rewards. I just hadn't been able to see it, because nobody had pointed it out. So let me point it out. The first thing gaming builds is a tolerance for failure. Think about how many times you've died on a difficult boss, how many times you've loaded the same checkpoint, how many attempts it took before you finally got the timing right, or figured out the pattern, or found the right combination of abilities. You didn't quit, you kept going. Not because someone told you to, but because you knew on some level that the problem was solvable. You just hadn't found the solution yet. That is exactly the mindset that coding requires. Debugging a program is not a sign you've done something wrong. You try something, it doesn't work, you figure out why, you try again. The loop is identical. Most people who give up on coding do it in the first few weeks, when they hit their first wall and don't know how to get through it. Gamers don't give up at walls. They've spent years learning to treat a wall as a puzzle. The second thing is optimization. If you've ever done build maxing, you know, spending an hour in a menu working out the best combination of gear, stats and abilities for a specific encounter, you already think like a programmer. Coding is full of this. There's always a more efficient way to write something, a function that does the same thing in fewer lines, a solution that runs faster, a structure that's easier to maintain. Non-gamers often see this kind of thinking as unnecessary. Gamers see it as the whole point. I used to spend hours on character builds in games like Baldur's Gate 3, hours that felt slightly embarrassing honestly. Then I became a software engineer, and that same instinct to find the most elegant solution to a constrained problem turned out to be exactly what the job asked for. The hours weren't wasted, they were just applied to the wrong medium. The third thing is pattern recognition. Gaming trains you to notice patterns fast. Enemy attack cycles, level layouts, the way a story is structured, the way an economy in a strategy game behaves. In coding, patterns are everything. The way data is structured, the way functions relate to each other, the way a bug tends to appear in one particular type of situation. Experienced developers don't solve every problem from scratch. They recognize the shape of a problem and apply a solution they've seen before. That ability to read a situation quickly, to spot what's repeating, to notice what's out of place. Gamers develop this without even realizing. Now here's the part where I want to be honest with you. All of this only matters if you actually start coding. You have to sit down and write the code, work through the confusion, push past the first few weeks when none of it makes sense yet. When I started, coding didn't feel like gaming. It felt hard and slow and unrewarding. That phase lasted a few weeks. Then something shifted. I started seeing the patterns. I started recognizing problem types. And I started optimizing my solutions instead of just making them work. And at that point it started to feel like something I recognized. It felt like a game I was getting good at. The brain that loves gaming can love coding. I know because mine did. The same persistence, the same problem-solving instinct, the same satisfaction when something finally works. It's all there. You're not learning a new skill from scratch. You're applying an old one to a new problem. If you want to test that theory, I put together a free 7-day challenge in the description. 1 email a day. Each one replaces a gaming session with a small coding task. By the end of the week, you'll have built 2 games in Python, and you'll know whether this is for you. Given everything we've just talked about, I think you already know the answer. Thank you for watching and see you next time.